Tonight, a long-awaited apology.
We are sorry for your pain.
A recognition that Inuit with tuberculosis were mistreated for decades, but many still deal with the deadly disease today.
Trudeau gave $600 million to the Clinton Foundation. It's in a Pizzagate.
A U.S. political conspiracy theory surfaces here in Canada. Why didn't Andrew Scheer shoot it down?
You have 1,000 women at your back who are cheering you on.
And from executive boardrooms to startups, the network of women taking down inequality. This is The National. After weeks of weathering controversy, Justin Trudeau traveled 2,000 kilometers away from Ottawa, a long-planned trip to Iqaluit to apologize for the government's tuberculosis policy in the far north decades ago. Justin Trudeau called it colonial and unacceptable. David Common has more on that apology to those who were numbered, tagged, and taken away, sometimes never to return.
Thank you for bringing that here today. This is an important thing.
Inuit in Canada's vast north have waited decades for this moment.
This was a shameful chapter in Canada's history. Culture and language eroded. Families would never again be whole. Lives were shattered beyond repair.
Because language was eroded, denied, it was critically important that today Inuit hear that apology in their language.
But an apology alone is not enough. We must also promise to do better.
In the room, Inuit who experienced the trauma firsthand. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, pulled off the land away from their food sources and pushed into communities. The airborne disease tuberculosis was imported too, and those with it were shipped south for treatment. It's believed 900 died, but often their families were not told.
I would like to take this moment and ask for a moment of silence for all of those who are not here with us today. If we could please just have a moment of silence to think about all of those affected by this apology today.
Along with the apology, a commitment to help those still seeking the graves of relatives in southern cities, and money to help locate them and visit.
I'm feeling that it's good for the elders and those who survived the TB era, and especially for the people that lost loved ones in southern sanatoriums. I'm glad an apology was given to them.
To this day, though, the legacy of parents taken from children and children from parents, transported far from home in the name of help, continues to reverberate, a trauma known throughout the North. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
The CBC's Pauline Pemick was in the room when Trudeau delivered the apology. And so, Pauline, what's the reaction been there to the Prime Minister and what he said?
It was so special to be there, to see the people that have been directly impacted from what happened, what we think so long ago, but to them it's like yesterday. And to be able to listen to the conversations kind of humming around the room while they waited for the Prime Minister. I talked to George Kulaut, who also said he was kind of like, is this the right time to be doing an apology for such an historic event? And he told me that when he heard the Prime Minister speak and the words that he chose to share the apology across the country and to these Inuit, that he really felt like, even with everything else that's going on around the world, he felt that it was sincere and he felt that it was real.
Well, and Pauline, I mean, you talk about the historic nature of the apology, and indeed, you know, it deals with the government's response to tuberculosis in the past, but TB is still very much around. Can you describe the impact it continues to have even to this day?
I'll try to do it in a few, I condense it, but it's here today. It's visible. I know people who have who need treatment for it. I know people that have to take care of their families and have recently lost loved ones because they were ill with this preventable sickness. I hope that this message sent across to the rest of the people in the country, they see that we need better health care, we need more housing, and we need to help these kids that are having problems with not having enough food at home to eat. And it's a crisis that affects everybody, and I think that as long as we share our stories and we explain to people how important it is, that it's something we can recover from.
Well, Pauline, I appreciate getting your sense and the community's sense of what's happened. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And Justin Trudeau was in Iqaluit for much of the day in, but he still couldn't completely distance himself from the SNC-Lavalin affair.
And Andrew, today the company at the center of the controversy moved one step closer to facing a criminal trial. SNC-Lavalin lost its latest bid to avoid prosecution, so now an out-of-court deal can only happen if the Attorney General orders one. That's the very issue that triggered the political controversy. Katie Simpson now on where this leaves the company and the government.
SNC-Lavalin's push to get out of criminal charges suffered a fresh setback. The engineering giant will not get a formal judicial review, meaning the corruption case against the company will go ahead. The federal court said in its ruling today the review had no reasonable prospect of success because this kind of decision clearly falls within prosecutorial discretion. The company says it's disappointed and will vigorously defend itself against the charges in court.
It is not up to the Prime Minister of Canada to intervene in a criminal court case and start deciding what prosecutors do and do not offer.
The opposition is urging the government to back off, but the Prime Minister won't rule out a deferred prosecution agreement. A DPA would allow SNC-Lavalin to pay a fine rather than go to court.
In the specific case of a DPA and Lavalin, as I've said from the very beginning, that is a decision for the Attorney General to make alone.
Even in Iqaluit, Justin Trudeau was unable to escape repeated questions on the story that has upended his inner circle with the resignation of 2 cabinet ministers. Trudeau says he's not yet made any decisions on whether Jody Wilson-Raybould or Jane Philpott should remain members of the Liberal caucus.
But I will remind people that we are a party that values diversity of opinions and perspectives.
Could you explain why it was untenable to stay in cabinet?
Good morning, everyone.
Philpott showed no desire to address her political future, at least for now.
And if you've come here today hoping that you're going to hear me directly comment on the political events of the past weeks, you're going to be disappointed. I'm here today because it's International Women's Day.
She dismissed reporter questions, a move that will drag this story out even further.
I'll look forward to meeting with you when we get back to session.
Parliament is in the middle of a break, but the SNC-Lavalin affair returns to Ottawa next week. The Justice Committee meets on Wednesday to discuss bringing Jody Wilson-Raybould back for more testimony. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
The SNC-Lavalin story has dominated newspaper headlines across the country for weeks now. And now media beyond our borders have picked up on the controversy. As Kayla Housel reports, the attention is taking some of the gleam off Justin Trudeau's international reputation.
Well, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is dealing with a growing scandal tonight.
Looks as though Canada's golden boy may have lost just a bit of his shine.
From the U.S. to the UK.
Now, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau once enjoyed a near rock star status.
To France and Brazil. Justin Trudeau is making news. And this time, not as the Prince Charming of global politics. In London, most people have heard of Trudeau.
Oh, he's brilliant. I hear that he's quite a suave man.
But news of the SNC-Lavalin scandal is spreading, tarnishing Canada's so-called Mr. Clean.
I gather he's in a bit of trouble at the moment. And his halo seems to have slipped somewhat.
It takes quite a lot for a Canadian Prime Minister to make the news.
The Economist's U.S. editor says the scandal is particularly bad for Trudeau's international brand because he is a self-proclaimed feminist who's now lost 2 high-profile female cabinet ministers. It's resonating even in the UK, where Prime Minister Theresa May is grappling with an even bigger crisis. She's lost at least 8 cabinet ministers as she tries to negotiate Britain's exit from the European Union.
We've got Trump in the US, Brexit here in London. This has made the news, so it's very much kind of broken through. And I think it looks very bad.
But in Washington, as people check out headlines outside a news museum, Trudeau doesn't Trump.
I just find it hard to believe, especially considering I live up to my ears in schemes in Washington, D.C.
Justin Trudeau promised a new kind of politics.
With people around the world musing about whether this will lead to Trudeau's demise.
The worst political crisis he's ever faced.
Some say the kind of squeaky clean image he's enjoyed abroad,
once bathed in a divine light,
never seems to last in politics. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, London.
Andrew Scheer is also facing scrutiny, but over a much different issue. This one centered on a town hall he held last night. A supporter asked Scheer a question that linked Trudeau to a bizarre conspiracy theory, one that's already led to a violent incident in the U.S. So how did Scheer respond? Well, for that, we turn to Salima Shivji.
A busy town hall for Andrew Scheer with an unexpected question full of false information.
Trudeau gave $600 million to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is part of child trafficking and child sacrifice. If you study it, it's in the Pizzagate. And how do we get that money back?
Pizzagate, a conspiracy theory that accused former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton of running a child sex ring at this pizza shop. The fake story was widely debunked, and still, someone who believed the tale fired shots there.
Appreciate your concerns on this.
Last night, Andrew Scheer didn't challenge the man who asked the question.
You mentioned the Clinton Foundation. You mentioned there are other examples where Justin Trudeau's government has given grants to hire people for groups that are, advocating for their own particular ideology.
Today, Scheer says he didn't hear the word Pizzagate.
I heard the Clinton Foundation part. I heard some of the other points the gentleman was making, but that was not something that.
So you didn't hear the
Pizzagate?
No. Reference, okay.
I did not.
Scheer's office says he didn't know what Pizzagate was until today. But now that he does, he believes conspiracies like it have no place in political debate. It's not always easy for politicians to call out fake information on the fly. The Prime Minister has several times when attacked over his policies.
That is false. Quebec actually gets its oil from the United States and from Western Canada.
Even harder, perhaps, challenging supporters, like the late U.S. Senator John McCain did when faced with a lie about his opponent, Barack Obama.
He's an Arab.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen.
Making things more difficult for Scheer, Maxime Bernier's New People's Party threatens to split the Conservative vote in the fall election.
Scheer and Bernier are going to be fighting over the same kind of group of voters. And this might be something that he's thinking about that would help him in the election in October.
It's the new reality. With fake news swirling around elections, politicians are increasingly faced with a choice: call it out or risk being called out themselves. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, there is the question, how did misinformation like this end up in front of a national politician? Well, let's break down the anatomy of a fake story.
Trudeau gave $600 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Okay, assuming the $600 million figure came from anywhere, it might have been this eye-popping figure the Trudeau government announced in 2017.
The Government of Canada will be investing $650 million in sexual and reproductive health programs for women.
A couple months later, the Toronto Sun ran this editorial criticizing the Trudeau government for giving $241 million to the Clinton Foundation, a different number that also happened to be very wrong. You see, the Trudeau government did give to the Clinton Foundation for a women's health program in Nigeria, but it was just under $20 million. And worth mentioning, the Harper government also funded Clinton Foundation programs to the tune of about $30 million. But by the time the Sun ran a correction, the fake figure was already spreading through right-wing media and into far-right message boards where it mixed with anti-Clinton conspiracy theories and apparently remains alive.
Some new job numbers surprising even the experts. Today, Stats Canada revealed that last month the country surpassed expectations. 56,000 jobs were added last month, building on the more than 60,000 new jobs in January. That's the first time since 1981 that the year has started off with job growth like this. And most of those jobs are full-time. Wages are up as well. Analysts may be wondering what's happening, but for many in the tech sector, it's no surprise. Jacqueline Hansen has more on what's fueling the growth.
So we moved in about 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Toronto-based quantum computing company Xanadu is growing fast.
In the last month alone, we've hired 4 people. By the end of the year, we hope to hire another 10 to 15 people, and a lot of them from Toronto.
The city's reputation as a hot tech hub got another boost from today's jobs numbers. While overall 11,000 part-time positions were lost in Canada last month, 67,000 new full-time jobs were created. Many were in professional, scientific, and technical services, and most of those added were in Ontario.
Half the jobs created in Canada in the last year have come right out of Ontario. This is the powerhouse engine of growth in this economy.
Still, the strength of today's jobs data is a surprise to most economists. Other signs have been pointing to a slowing economy for months. Struggles in the oil sector continue, there's softness in the housing market, and consumers are spending less. The reality may be somewhere in the middle of the good and the bad data, according to economist Francis Donald.
Anytime we get a piece of economic data, we have to say to ourselves, trust, but verify. And there is a lot of data out there that does say the Canadian economy probably has pretty good job growth. Some of it comes from business surveys that tell us, actually, there are labor shortages.
So you have a bunch of lasers here.
There's some concern companies like Xanadu could be held back if employers can't find the highly skilled workers they need.
People are clamoring for AI people, and even more so for quantum computing people.
All factors the Bank of Canada will take into account as it tries to figure out if companies, consumers, and the economy as a whole can handle any more interest rate hikes anytime soon. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Here's some of the other stories we're watching tonight. The Quebec City mosque shooter is appealing his sentence in a bid to reduce how long he has to wait until he can apply for parole. Last month, Alexandre Bissonnette was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole for 40 years. His lawyers are hoping to reduce that to 25. The 29-year-old pleading guilty to killing 6 men at a Quebec mosque in 2017.
Make room. Make room.
Actor Jussie Smollett is now facing 16 charges of lying to Chicago police. He told officers he was the victim of a hate crime, but police say he paid 2 brothers to stage the assault in a hoax orchestrated to further his acting career. The 36-year-old was dropped from the TV show Empire. Chelsea Manning has been sent to jail for refusing to testify before a grand jury investigating WikiLeaks.
I don't believe in the grand jury process. I don't believe in the secrecy of this. I have no problem explaining what happened. I've done it before.
The judge says the former U.S. Army intelligence analyst will stay behind bars until she testifies or until the grand jury concludes its work, which could be months. In 2013, she was sentenced to 35 years in prison for leaking classified documents to WikiLeaks. Her sentence was later commuted.
And still ahead on The National, fighting for equality in and out of the boardroom.
And later, a fix for children in the ER, why doctors are turning to virtual reality.
But first, musicals catering to a younger audience.
That's so funny. I've never heard a young person ask that question that older people ask. Is, well, why is this character bursting the song right now?
Never.
But I've never had a teenage fan ever ask that.
These are the first beadwork I did. I didn't know anything about beadwork. So I went ahead and made my own. And they're still pretty solid. So I did an alright job, I guess. Everybody needs a two-spirit in their family. And that makes it even more sacred because it completes the circle of male and female. Even for myself, sometimes I'm reminded by elders that I have to acknowledge my male spirit too, not only the female, even though the female is an important role in my life. Yeah, and I got my spirit name too. I name it Mako, that's dancing bear, and that's what I love doing is dancing, so it really suits me. There's a lot more to putting on regalia and deciding you're gonna go dance, because it's really sacred for me. This dress that I wear, it's a sacred healing dance, which was been around for centuries already, I guess, and you get healing out of it. You have to always go with your heart, what's right in your heart. If you feel it's right, go ahead and do it. If you think it's wrong, then don't do it. That's what my grandmother used to tell me. Because I'd ask her questions and she says, well, what do you think? How do you feel in your heart? Is it right or is it wrong? Well, I don't know, I guess it's right. Okay, well, if it's right, we'll go ahead. If it's wrong, you'll find out. Here, it's really well accepting. Like, people don't judge you for who you are, your gender. It's the way you carry yourself and the sacredness that you're carrying. And people can see that, people can tell. So I'll be there dancing. I'll dance with my people.
Cause guys like us are cool in college, this I know.
You may not recognize this musical, but chances are a teenager would. Be More Chill will make its debut on Broadway this weekend. A debut that almost didn't happen until the show took off on social media, driven almost entirely by teenage fans. It is a sign of the changing audience for musicals. They're getting younger. Last season, more than 30% of Broadway's musical theater audience was under the age of 25. Our Deanna Sumanak-Johnson went to New York to see it firsthand.
Night after night, these teenagers wait in the freezing cold for a glimpse of their idols, maybe an autograph or a selfie. It's all because of Be More Chill, a musical about a kid who takes a pill to make him more popular. When it opened 4 years ago in New Jersey, the reviews were not great.
It really seemed like the show was dead, to use a blunt term. And so it wasn't until the spring of 2017 that we started noticing some sort of social media blips about the show.
Zombie! Watch out!
And those blips became a social media storm. As word of mouth about the show grew, the cast recording streamed 150 million times on Spotify. There was fan art and hundreds of YouTube cover versions of the songs.
I'm just Michael in the bathroom, Michael in the bathroom at a bar.
Producers took notice, and after a sold-out run in an off-Broadway theater, the show's creators, Joe Iconis and Joe Trace, are finally about to see their work open on a major Broadway stage. Be More Chill is in good company. Broadway is experiencing a boom of shows that are proving to be huge hits with teens and young adults.
Now that's a party.
There's the musical version of the movie Mean Girls. And Dear Evan Hansen, a multiple Tony winner that deals with serious subjects like teen anxiety and suicide.
In terms of being a young person on Broadway,
Alan Henry is a 24-year-old Canadian who writes about theater in New York.
I think really, it started with Glee when I was in high school. I think if we're looking, where that really came from, which sort of popularized, musical theater and also pop performance on television again, which led to Smash, which led to Rise.
The creators of Be More Chill agree. Young people just don't think of musicals as corny.
That's so funny. I've never heard a young person ask that question that older people ask. Well, why does this character burst into song right now? But I've never had a teenage fan ever ask that.
This is the
And the desire to experience musical theater live is driving fans to get creative.
I take the overnight bus for 12 hours to New York. It doesn't cost very much money.
And then you have the next one. This 21-year-old Toronto University student has seen Dear Evan Hansen twice on Broadway and is about to see it again in Toronto.
I'm so astonished by how
talented the people are on stage, and it's live, and then they do it like 8 times a week.
You want to be more chill.
A desire for a live experience and a connection that's making a century-old entertainment form a hit with the digital generation. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, New York.
Catchy tunes. Still ahead on The National, you meet a couple of women devoted to giving other women an edge.
And later, the new tool some BC doctors are now bringing into the ER.
When we see kids in actually severe pain, it sort of breaks our heart, you know, and then changing that from the crying child to a child that's smiling, for us, is magical.
This is James Baldwin, born in Harlem, 1924, the first of 9 children, the son of a minister. Occupation today, writer.
And what a writer. James Baldwin has written about the love and the hate that flow between the polarities of man and woman, black and white, of man and man, with a power that commands. To know about America today, about race in America, about sexuality in America, about passion and anguish in America, I think you must read James Baldwin.
Giovanni's Room, Go Tell It on the Mountain, Notes of a Native Son are some of the books that 10 Years in Paris drew from James Baldwin. About a decade ago, he returned home to get closer to the black man's struggle in America. Today, he seems bent on escalating that war in the United States.
When I walked in here, you said, what are we going to talk about? And I said, you know, the usual but important things. You kind of said, A, that was depressing, and B, you weren't sure it was worthwhile.
Well, there are days when you feel that way, you know. One gets tired of talking because no one's listening, you know. It's inevitable one would feel that, you know. And a lot of black people seem to be turned away from any effort at any kind of dialogue, and from the bottom of my heart, I really cannot blame them, because one gets weary of trying to explain to people who don't want to hear it the dangers which you and they are running. One gets weary of trying to convey an experience which is really in some sense antithetical to the American, to the Western pretensions. One gets weary of trying to confront the people with the necessity of assessing their own history, which is what has brought us to this place. And if people don't want to do it, you finally say, well, you know, I don't care what you're going to do, I know what I'm going to do.
And that's where we're at now?
That's where many of us are at, yes.
So it's likelier to get worse than it is to get better.
We've been saying that for years. If I may say so, I did write a book called The Fire Next Time, which means that people bought, which obviously nobody read. We'll have to get worse, you know, since no real action has been taken. And years pass very quickly. A boy who was 15 is presently 30. Has a kid 10. And not only is he aware of what has happened to him in his 30 years, but he's watching it happen to his kid. And as far as he can tell, it's going to go on and on forever, just like that, with white people, various white people weeping about it. Well, that's unacceptable. Simply.
A lot of people come along and say, I've been born into this thing. You know, I don't actively support it, I'm not sure I like it. And you still use that generic you, so that a very liberal response is, this is grossly unfair to me as an individual.
I'm not trying to be unfair, but, you know, it's, we were all born into it. And, you know, I know many people actively don't support it. You know, I'm not condemning you, in fact, any more than I'm condemning me. My point is, you know, my point is simply that since we were born into it, and since it manages both of us alike, there's something we have to take some responsibility for doing something about it. I'm not really talking in racial terms either. You know, one of the delusions of the century is that this is a.
It has been a day of celebration, protest, and activism here in this country and right around the world. Today is the 44th annual International Women's Day, though its roots go back much further, to the early 20th century and women's fight for the right to vote. On that front, there have been clear gains. But tonight, we want to explore the ongoing drive for equality and all of the arenas where it can still feel like an uphill battle. The corporate boardroom is perhaps among the most stubborn of these arenas. Women make up only a small fraction of senior executives in North America. But as Kim Brunhuber shows us, a new law is designed to change that.
In an all-woman workspace on the west side of Los Angeles, female executives mingle, waiting for a workshop to start. It's run by the Board List, a networking platform that helps women seize one of the most prestigious and male-dominated perks of the corporate world, a seat on the board of directors.
So it simply makes good business sense for women to be in the boardroom.
More than just good sense, in California, it's now the law. All publicly traded companies headquartered in the state must have at least one woman director. For larger boards, that number could rise to up to 3. The women here say it's the only way to achieve gender parity. Right now in California, female directors only hold about 15% of board seats, and more than a quarter of the state's boardrooms have no women at all.
It was going to take decades to get there. The fact that we need to accelerate it with legislation is a little disheartening.
When you start talking about, things like quotas, you start raising the specter of tokenism.
Actually, it's probably the most common misperception. There is definitely not a shortage of qualified female candidates. The issue is more one of awareness and exposure to those candidates.
But there are skeptics. Some research suggests the law would only really apply to about 72 California companies. The one Fortune 500 company affected, Apple, would only have to add one more woman to its board. And the law might have at least 2 fatal flaws. Because it's gender-based, and because it also affects companies headquartered in California but incorporated in other states, a court may rule it unconstitutional.
Do you think this law will survive a challenge?
I think there's a substantial risk that this law will not survive a challenge.
Even if the courts water down the law, advocates say it may still send a powerful message which could prompt change elsewhere. Montreal native Kathleen Coleman, who now works for Google in Los Angeles, said trying to crack the boys' club can be frustrating on both sides of the border. She hopes the California law will inspire a similar mandate in Canada.
I'm a big fan of experiments, right? So you change the law and then see what happens.
Maybe even expand the law, she says, to require boards to be diverse in more ways than just one. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
Now, outside the boardroom, Canadian women are still consistently paid less than men, about 25% less. And not much has changed in 5 years. In 2014, the average weekly wage rate for men was just over $1,000. For women, less than $800. Fast forward to last year, when men averaged about $1,100 per week. For women, it was less than $900, only about a 2% improvement in the gap. Well, now we want to introduce you to 2 Canadian women who've committed themselves and their businesses to helping other women. Now, one is a fashion designer determined to make life better for Syrian refugees. The other, a businesswoman behind a global movement to give female entrepreneurs an edge. Very different backgrounds, but one shared goal: putting women first.
Fashion is fun, but I'm not really interested in just beauty for beauty's sake. I'm interested in looking at beauty as a platform to look at bigger issues, more important issues. So for me, what's really interesting is building economic self-sufficiency for women through fashion, through beauty.
And then we give a percentage back to the charity of everything that we sell through the business.
When the Syrian women came to Toronto, I found out that they have a tradition of learning how to make lace and how to do all these artisanal crafts from their mothers. So it was a perfect fit for me. And I remember interviewing this circle of 13 women, and some of those women work for me today. I remember going into the meeting, and I was holding my son Samuel going in. It was a very cold day, and I walked in, and they were just so excited, and it was such an uplifting experience. And for me, the fact that I was able to provide a job for some of these women, it's an incredibly humbling thing. And it just makes you realize that we're all incredibly interconnected, and that often we're just one paycheck away or one tragedy away from being vulnerable ourselves.
Would you please stand up for a moment, everyone, and hug someone near you to welcome them in the room. We've designed business to work in a certain way that isn't serving humanity. We don't need to do it that way. We can really change it. I think a lot of the vendors that are here doing really game-changing, paradigm-shifting things. And I have been a tech entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur for many years. I've had lots of different ventures, taken a company public. And when I was getting one of my first really, really big customers, I was told, you should have a male founder if you want to do better with our company. You just get a lot farther. You know, and like there are so many of these stories out there, so many female entrepreneurs, you know, are you gonna have kids? What are you gonna do if you have kids? How are you gonna raise money if you're a woman? Like just ridiculous questions all the time. We are gonna create a safe space for anybody in the room who wants to ask for help.
I'm a life coach who is looking for help with launch strategy.
I'm looking for speaking opportunities to speak at conferences to small business owners.
Only 4% of venture capital or bank loans go to women. It's crazy, and we are not a niche market, right? We're 50% of the population. So there just seemed like this huge opportunity to fund women on their own terms in a completely different way. I have really built up a sisterhood and had so much support from all of you. It really does take a village to do this. And look what we've built. 4,000 activators, 55 ventures funded in 4 countries.
As a female entrepreneur who has a product that is primarily targeted towards a female audience, being able to connect with other women who understand what we're doing is very useful. So the initial spark for this whole company and project really came from a conversation that I had with a group of friends. Somebody said that they needed to get a pap test, but they were really uncomfortable with it, and they had been putting it off for years. And in Canada, about 30 to 40% of women don't screen on a regular basis. And so I was a little bit surprised by that stat. We started hearing from a lot of women who have people in their lives have developed cervical cancer or even died from cervical cancer. And what we told ourselves at the time when we started the company is that if one person using our product does not go on to develop cervical cancer, that is a worthwhile thing to do.
So we're just going to pick up the seamstresses now. Because it's so cold, I didn't want them to take the TTC today.
How are you? How are you?
I think it's really hard when you come to a new country and you don't have a job. I think your self-worth can take a beating. You start to question your potential and your ability when you're underemployed. So I think it's a sense of hope that I'm providing with this opportunity. Osana, we're going to be working on some of our vintage collection now. So I want you to sew it by hand here. I think the really exciting part about my business is actually not the aesthetic, it's not the jewelry. It's the fact that I employ women that are newcomers to Canada.
I want to cut and try.
We'll try like a whole lengthwise. Okay, perfect. We pay them a fair trade wage, a living wage of $18 an hour.
Most of the women, they didn't have a chance to go out there to work somewhere because of the lack of knowledge in, let's say, the language. Kim was like, for us, like a point to start.
I like doing handmade. That's my hobby. I did them in Syria, but not for sale, only for me.
Can I please call this year's CEO Ventures to the stage? When one of the ventures gets selected in our network and they stand on stage with an entire room full of women who literally paid to help them, it changes your life as an entrepreneur to feel like you are supported and people have your back. And this is a very, very rich network of people supporting each other.
So how many of you here have had a pap test? Okay. And how many of you here really enjoy that experience? No one. All right. It was an incredible feeling to be in a room full of women who had actively chosen to support you. It's meaningful because it means that other people share and believe in our vision for what kinds of things we can do in the world. It's almost like you have 1,000 women at your back who are cheering you on. We are here to build a business, but we're also here to make an impact. And it is the inspiration for continuing to do the things that I do.
I want to change the world. I don't like the way it's organized. I don't think it's fair. And I think we are at a moment in time where there are massive opportunities to redesign almost everything, and we need to have a new society where women and men are at the table equally.
I presented Nari with her first check in Canada, her first paycheck. And she started crying, and I was crying, because when I saw Nari receive it and the pride on her face and the joy on her face of receiving that check, it just made my heart so full, and I just got so emotional in that moment. We both did.
Yes, because this is the first time I have money for my hobby.
My work.
Yes, it's, I am doing thing and I get money, and she felt me that I am an important person.
Wonderful story. A footnote to all of this. Not so long ago, the battle for equality was fought almost exclusively by women, with little help from men or even world leaders. Things have gotten better on that front, but there's still a ways to go, at least on the messaging. Here's what I mean. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison raised eyebrows in how he stated his commitment to gender equality today.
See, we're not about setting Australians against each other, trying to push some down to lift others up.
And then he said this.
We want to see women rise, but we don't want to see women rise only on the basis of others doing worse. We want everybody to do better.
An odd statement. Some saw it as a bit defensive, the mere suggestion that helping women could hurt men. And then there's Russia. Vladimir Putin went for a supportive and choreographed horseback ride with female police officers, himself out in front, though his horse seemed to have other ideas by the end. And later in the day, he offered this to women.
И сегодня, в наши дни,
today, in our times, you are engaged in virtually all professional endeavors. You manage time for everything at work and at home and remain beautiful, bright, and charming. But there was one world leader who seemed to land on her feet just fine. Watch how British Prime Minister Theresa May responded to a jab about how many questions from women she took today.
Prime Minister, only one question from a woman reporter on International Women's Day. It's a pretty poor show, isn't it? You've had answers from all the Prime Only one question.
You've had answers from a woman Prime Minister, she said. Enough said.
As a 5-year-old child, you walk into the school and you see so many other children crying. And then you have the older children come to you and tell you not to cry because it's going to get worse. But to walk up those stairs and to hear this woman speaking like English and telling me like, get in that shower, wash yourself, wash everything off, take that brown, wash off that brown skin. And there was soap, I don't know what kind of soap it was, but it burned. Like I remember the burn and the scrubbing and cry, like wanted to cry because it hurt.
And she said
wash until you take all your brown skin off, because God doesn't like brown skin. So I tried. I grew up hating the color of my skin. I wanted to be white. I was broken inside, like thinking, how can I make that change to be accepted in society? To go to public school and to be ridiculed because you're Indian, or the names that were given to you. And I never had the knowledge of how to stand up and say, this is my brown skin and I'm proud of it. American Indian movement was, there was a stand in Wounded Knee, and they were standing up for what they believed in, is equality and justice. And I said, I want to be like them. And I finally was able to put my hair in braids. I actually put a feather in my hair just going to school, and it was just standing up for what I believed in. I felt like I made a statement, and this is who I am, and you can't hurt me with that anymore. And you can call me any names you want. I am Dakota, and I'm proud of it. And I will stand, I will stand up for my family. I was a single mom the first time, and it was always her and I. And I made a promise to her that she will never have to feel that she's not worthy.
This reconciliation process, will that make a better world for her, do you think?
Yes, I pray it does. I pray that people find some type of peace within themselves to help us to open their own hearts, so that everybody we can start working together.
Here are some of the other stories we're watching tonight. We've learned what was behind a bizarre scene at the Canada-US border in New Brunswick last October. Turns out what police originally thought might be a terrorist incident turned out to be, in the judge's words, just stupid. Two brothers from Nova Scotia, Bailey and Damien Roy, pleaded guilty to a charge of obstruction. They were stopped at the border near Woodstock, New Brunswick with no ID, no license, and 21 jugs of gasoline in their car. Turns out they were trying to sneak into the U.S. on their way to Mexico, and they've spent the last 4 months in jail.
Happy International Women's Day.
An Ontario cabinet minister who faced threats was rushed out of an event today by her security team. Lisa MacLeod has faced backlash over the province's changes to autism funding. Yesterday, Ottawa police charged a 41-year-old woman with harassment and uttering threats. MacLeod also stayed away from a rally at the legislature yesterday because of safety concerns. There are few places scarier for children than a hospital emergency room. Strange lights and sounds on top of being injured or sick. But what if there was a way to make the experience less terrifying and even less painful? Well, some doctors in British Columbia are trying with the help of virtual reality goggles. Briar Stewart takes a look at how VR may be a fix for future ER visits.
Thanks. Hello. Hi, I'm Dr. Babudi, one physician here.
You could describe it as a typical start to an ER visit.
What's going on?
So I fell off the stairs.
But at the Peace Arch Hospital in White Rock, BC,
Do you have any pain here?
Dr. Amir Baboudi has a few extra tools to help his pediatric patients, and they range from the traditional to the high-tech.
So Megan here gonna put a boot on you, and you're gonna be on a roller coaster ride, okay?
Part of the goal is to make patients like 10-year-old Amy Wu more comfortable.
Are you ready? There you go. You got your ponytail there.
By taking her away from what's going on in the hospital and transporting her somewhere else. In this case, on board a roller coaster where she can look all around.
Look to the left. Is it fun?
Yeah.
Good.
She can ride over and over again.
Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, the healthcare team does what they need to do. In Wu's case, she kept the goggles on.
Okay, girlie. Bye-bye, guys.
Long after the doctors were finished treating her broken toe, her mother, Nancy Dang, appreciated it too.
I think it's very good for the kids, and maybe she will not feel scared when she is in hospital.
How much did having the goggles on help keep your mind off of that?
A lot. I just like play on this stuff.
So this is the headset looks like. This is $20.
Baboudi started playing around with the technology 3 years ago. He bought a couple of headsets and installed a free app on his cell phone. He was interested in finding new ways of distracting children during painful procedures.
When we see kids in actually severe pain, it sort of breaks our heart, you know, and then changing that from the crying child to a child that's smiling, for us is magical. I think there's one gonna jump pretty soon.
He started using the VR goggles with patients as young as 6 and filmed the result.
Try to stay nice and still for me, okay? Ouchie. That's the worst part there. Big breath.
As his team injected needles and stitched up cuts, the children stayed calm.
Yeah, what's the roller coaster doing?
Show me another way of doing this. I don't know, without medication. This is where magic is.
Baboudi was convinced, but what he really wanted was evidence, which is why in 2017 he partnered with BC Children's Hospital in Vancouver and Dr. Rand Goldman, who runs a pain lab.
We thought that it would be incredible to take this very accessible technology nowadays and bring VR to the bedside. All right.
They started doing randomized controlled trials.
I'll give you a hand because your one hand is not active. What I'm going to give you is a VR system with a roller coaster. So, put this on.
Half of the patients used the VR and half didn't. Afterwards, they were asked to rate their level of pain they experienced during the procedures. Their studies, coupled with research done by other institutions, found the same results.
Virtual reality is extremely beneficial to patients, especially children. They get distracted, and it reduces their level of anxiety as well as pain. You can look all the way up to the sky, see the spaceship?
More than 500 kids have used the goggles at BC Children's Hospital, and this month the technology will be rolled out to every department.
Excellent. Is it distracting enough?
It will be the first hospital across the country to be using it in every unit.
Try and look behind you, see what happens behind you.
Oh, there's a big difference. Okay. That's why teams of child life specialists are now being trained on the VR goggles. The healthcare professionals work with children and families and help them prepare for and cope with medical procedures. They're now testing out apps and goggles to figure out which ones would work best for different patients.
Just like personalized medicine, fit the right VR to the right patient. You're going to figure out faster than me. So here's the remote in your good hand.
Goldman says they have a model they can use with children as young as 2 years old. Once the goggles are deployed in every department, his team will be able to do more research and help advise other hospitals about how to use the VR.
We don't always want children to be fully technology immersed, but I think this is a type of technology that children really endorse and love.
Stay nice and still while you watch the roller coaster there, Seth. Attaboy.
Particularly because it helps to distract them during an often painful and unpleasant time. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
My kids would never want to leave the hospital. Still ahead on The National, a successful homecoming for SpaceX. That historic moment. Next.
What a gorgeous shot of Dragon coming back down.
How about Spider-Man? You know about Spider-Man?
Yeah.
How about the Hulk? Do you have the Hulk here?
Yeah.
The Hulk, really? The Hulk is on TV here too?
Yeah.
Great. I'm glad that this area is not culturally deprived.
Which one is your favorite?
Oh, gee, you know, that's almost like asking a parent who's his favorite child. I think I love them all. But maybe I like Spider-Man a little bit better. And maybe it's because he's just so popular. I have to like him, you know, because he's our best-selling character.
How do you think of the character like Spider-Man? How do you get to think of a guy
With
like
great difficulty. But I really don't know how. You know, if we need a new character, I'll sit down and I'll say, well, we need a new character. Now, let's see. We already have a guy who crawls on walls and spins webs. We already have a guy who's the god of thunder and a fellow who's got green skin and he breaks through buildings up and so forth. What haven't we got? You know, then you sort of sit and eliminate. They say, well, we don't have a fella, perhaps, who can counteract the power of gravity. Maybe a person who can walk on air, and we'll call him Anti-Gravity Man. Of course, that's silly, but so you say, okay, there's one. Or maybe a fellow who can walk through walls, you know, and we'll call him the Wall Walker or something. And you just, but getting the idea is easy. The tough thing is saying to yourself, okay, I've got an idea for a character, but now what can I do to this character to make the readers care about him?
When I start writing stories, they start off quite good, but then they start fading away. When yours, like Spider-Man, they always stay good. How do you do that?
I think the most important thing is you yourself have to say to yourself, is the story holding my interest, meaning your interest? And if it isn't, you have to say why. And you have to say, well, maybe I've been writing about the same thing too long. Maybe I should now introduce another character or have something mysterious happen. Maybe my hero or my heroine suddenly receives a telegram and opens it up and looks at it and says, oh no, not that, and then puts it down. And then the reader will wonder, hey, what was in that telegram?
Is it in comics, is it usually the biggest, strong, and ugly characters that are most successful?
No. You know what it is? It's the ones that are the most interesting and the ones that the viewers and the readers of comics can most relate to. It doesn't matter if the character is ugly or is handsome or is weak or is strong. If there's something about the character that makes you like the character and care about the character. Now, I think we've done it with a lot of different ones. Certainly, Peter Parker. Who's Peter Parker, quickly?
Spider-Man.
Okay. Just want to see that you're awake. Peter Parker is totally different than the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
They're both popular.
When it comes to test missions, this is as good as it gets. And for SpaceX, it was also history-making. After a 6-day test flight to the International Space Station, the Crew Dragon capsule successfully landed back on Earth today, and that moment is our moment.
And we have motion. You see Dragon physically separating from the International Space Station, 253 statute miles over Sedan.
Dragon departure burn 0 complete.
The Dragon spacecraft continuing to descend. It's now subsonic.
What a gorgeous shot of Dragon coming back down.
And here come the mains.
Really can't ask for a more picture-perfect shot than that. And there we have confirmation of splashdown.
Yes, the mission successful. Worth noting, though, while the Dragon capsule was up in space docked with the ISS, a Canadian, David Saint-Jacques, who's on board the International Space Station, he was the first one in space to enter that capsule, and apparently he said it was pretty slick. He liked the look of it.
Yeah, I think he described it as being like business class. That sounds pretty good. Now, here's a statistic that people of my generation, Andrew, will maybe find a little shocking. The last time an astronaut-ready capsule splashed down in the Atlantic was 50 years ago this month. Apollo 9, that iconic image of a capsule coming down, is 50 years old. Mull that over for a while. That is The National for March 8th. Good night.
Good night.